Hello, this is Lino Tadros, and in this video we'll talk about Fabric's data factory using data pipelines. So let's go ahead and get started. In the previous video I showed you how to use Dataflow Gen 2, but in this one I would like to create a brand new pipeline to even be able to use data flows inside of it as well. So I'm going to click on New here inside of my workspace, and notice the first one at the top says Data Pipeline. Let's click on that. And once I do that, I'll be able to give it a name here in a second. So we'll go ahead and call it Orders Pipeline. Let's do that, and we'll say Create. All right, we are in the pipeline right now. It's completely empty. I can actually create a brand new activity in the pipeline. And there is a lot of helpers actually in Fabric to show you how to use a copy data assistant by using a wizard, answer some questions. You can use some sample data just to play around with this, which I definitely encourage you to do. Or maybe you have some complex templates available by Fabric in case you would like to get data from like Snowflake and you'd like to get something from Oracle. And there is a lot of different templates. You don't have to create everything from scratch as well. In our case in here, we'll click on the pipeline activity. And notice all of these things that you can do. There are tons of them. The most important one that people use all the time are the copy data. Maybe I'm just trying to create an activity in the pipeline to get me data from one place to another. Maybe I already created data flow, which we already did in a previous video, and I would like to include that as one of the activities inside of my pipeline itself. One of the things that you will do a lot before you move data into a Lakehouse, for instance, you want to make sure the data is deleted first. So maybe you will start with this delete data and then copy the data in it. There are lookups, there are conditions like if condition, switch, wait for each, all the stuff that you might need during a pipeline to go from one activity to the other. Notice also for orchestration, one of the activities in a pipeline could be going and actually invoking a completely different pipeline as well. So you can actually do that if you would like. Things like webhook, maybe upon failure of one of the activities, I would like to send a message to my Slack channel or my Microsoft Teams, for instance, channel. You can do that with webhook. Also, if you would like to have Azure Databricks as one of the activities to be able to go out there and get you data from a storage inside of Databricks, for instance, you can do that. You can use Azure Functions. There is a lot of different things in here. I'll let you take a look at all of them, maybe even sending an email using Outlook upon failure or success or even completion. All of these things are available for you. In our case in here, we'll start with the copy data. Let's click on the copy data in here, bring it down here in the middle. And notice this activity here is very specific. It has a name at the bottom. It says copy data 1. Let's change that. We'll say ingest orders data. That will give it a little bit more meaning to understand what we're doing. And you will notice at the bottom in here with the copy data actually highlighted, there are two red numbers right above source and destination. It means you cannot run this or execute this copy data unless you get rid of these ones. That means there are things still missing from the parameters that need to be passed to this activity. Excellent. Let's go ahead and click on the source and find out what it is. Where would you like to get the data from? This could be already data available in one of your workspaces in a Lakehouse. You can get it from there. That's not the case for us. The case for us, actually, believe it or not, let me open up another tab in Chrome in here. And I'm going to do a Control V. So Microsoft Learning has a sample CSV file. It's pretty small, just for testing. It's called orders.csv, available in GitHub right now. So I'm just going to show you in the browser itself what it looks like. This is the file, okay? It's not a big file, just something for testing. So I need to take that URL, okay? I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to tell it that the source for this copy data is coming from the internet. I'm going to say external, and in here we'll say select. If you don't see it in here, we'll click on new, for instance, and you will go into a new connection, and there is a lot of things that you can get it from. The one I'm interested in is this one called HTTP, okay, because it's just a plain CSV file available on the internet with anonymous access. So I'm going to click on the HTTP, we'll say continue, and in here I'm going to go ahead and place Control V that link going into the CSV. Excellent. Now I'm going to say OK. And now notice that the source is coming directly from that connection in here. And what is the connection type? If I come in here, it would be an HTTP connection. Great. What is the relative URL? I don't need to pass that. It's already part of the connection. We're good. But the file format is not binary. So let me change this. And I'm going to go down to the limited text. It's a CSV file. I can set the settings on the CSV. What is the compression type? It's none. I'm not using any of that. The column delimiter is a comma, which is great. The raw delimiter is not this one, so I'm going to change this and make it line feed. That's good. We'll leave the encoding and the code character. Everything else is in pretty good shape. And I know that the first line in the CSV is the header, so it's important to keep this checked right there. And I'm going to say OK. And now, with doing all that, I can actually click on the test connection just to make sure that everything is good. We'll give it here a few seconds. And voila, the connection is successful. So we are in pretty good shape. And the one went away because we have a valid external source for our data. All right, let's do the destination. So the destination is not going to be external. It's going to be in a workspace. And my workspace in here is called the Lakehouse that I created. And then the Lakehouse, I'm going to use the Star Trek Lakehouse that I created earlier right there as well. Now we can get into a good question. Should I actually bring it in when the copy data runs, bring it in into a Delta Parquet table format automatically into the Lakehouse, or do I get it as is as a CSV and put it in files first? Well, the goal, of course, is for us, we want to bring it directly into the tables. That's the main goal. But sometimes a lot of companies will come in here and click on files first. That means when the copy data finish, I want to get the raw data as is from whatever it was on the internet. I would like to bring it as a CSV, as a raw data. And then I'm going to create another step later on to transform this from being a CSV regular file into a Delta Parquet. So sometimes you'll have to take multiple steps because you don't know what the rest of the team in your workspace might require. Otherwise, there will be no CSV in your Lakehouse. It will be only tables. The CSV will be just the one coming in from the internet. So, I mean, you think about that, finding out how would you like to do it. If you'd like to bring in a CSV first, before another activity will do that, just create a folder, for instance, under files, give it a file name, call it orders.csv, for instance, preview the data, make sure everything is good, set the delimiter of now the destination. We've done this already for the source, but now I can set how you want the delimiter, the comma, and the line feed and all the stuff. You can do it again. In my case, I'm going to go faster. I'm going to click on tables. I want to get this directly from the internet, the orders.csv, and I'm going to create Delta Parquet files immediately out of it. All right, let's go to tables. And now I'm going to click on the refresh in here to show me what's available inside of my own Star Trek Lakehouse automatically. So we'll wait for that to refresh for a second, and then we will see what's available for us. All right, it finished. Now if I bring this down, and remember from previous videos, I've already created products and orders, so this one needs to have a different name. It cannot be orders again. So we'll say new, and we'll say, for instance, GitHub orders. So we can tell which one is coming from where. We'll say create on this guy. All right, so notice the one went away from the destination as well. So I'm in pretty good shape at this point. So I can actually save my pipeline if I want to. Notice there is a save in here. We'll click on save. It's called orders pipeline, and that is the saving completed. We're good to go. And I think we're in pretty good shape. We can go ahead now and run and execute this specific pipeline. It only has one activity right now. It could be a lot of different activities, but this hopefully will show you the point. If I click on the run right now, also I can schedule. I can say Friday night at midnight, I would like to run this on a schedule every day or every week or every month or whatever. You can schedule all of that. So I'm going to say run this and execute it, and we wait for it. It's now running, and it will find out a compute to be able to run this instance of the whole pipeline. The nice thing at the bottom in here, you can see that the pipeline is running. It shows you the duration, the input, and the output. And now it's queued on a machine somewhere inside of Microsoft Fabric. And if I go in here and click on the progress, I can actually see this is a very small file, so it will finish really quickly. But if you're bringing in gigabyte or terabytes worth of data, you can actually click on the pipeline and actually view where it is. So if I see run succeeded, so it didn't take that much time. It succeeded. It took 28 seconds, so we're good shape to keep going. How do I know that I was successful? We can always go back to our Lakehouse. Let me go ahead in here to the Lakehouse and notice it says unidentified just because the refresh. I'm going to do a Shift F5 here in my browser so you can actually see the name of the new table, which is called GH orders. And there it is. All right. So I'm going to actually click on this GH orders. And let's see if it can preview it. That means this is the Delta Parquet file and tables. There will be nothing in files because I decided not to do that, but there they are. And notice it did a pretty good job to find out exactly what the types of every single one in, but the data is in here. I have only 542 rows, but you can imagine that the pipeline did a pretty good job in bringing all that stuff in as well. I hope this was useful to show you how easy it is to create a pipeline in Fabric, and I'll see you again soon in a new video, and please remember to subscribe.